Online media is made possible by the members of Nevada Public Radio. Join us at knpr.org.
Sooner or later, all homeowners find themselves in need, sometimes urgently, of a contractor, whether it be to examine an air conditioning unit on the blink or to fix a pool that turned green overnight. The Nevada State Contractors Board licenses and regulates more than 14,000 contractors in the state of Nevada. But sometimes homeowners are tempted by lower costs or need for speed to go to an unlicensed contractor. A relationship of convenience which often ends badly. Joining us now in studio to discuss that and what you can do if you have to deal with an unlicensed contractor is Art Nadler. He's Public Information Officer for the Nevada State Contractors Board. We're also joined by two consumers who have been stung by poor experiences with contractors. And, of course, we're going to want to hear from you as well at 258-3552. That's 258-3552. If you have questions about how to choose a good contractor, a licensed contractor, we have an expert here who can help you out and give you some advice, 258-3552. Or you can also email us at son@knpr.org. Just include your first name and where you're writing from. I want to bring in Anna right now. She's a Las Vegas homeowner. She's 78 years old, lives on Social Security, and Anna is actually her pseudonym. We promised Anna that we would not give her full name because, just to be quite honest, Anna, you're a little embarrassed about what happened.
Yes, I am.
Tell us your story.
Okay, my story is the gentleman posed as a licensed contractor. He said he was, and I met him next door to a job that my daughter is a property manager, and he came over to see if he could give a bid on some of the work because a tenant had just moved out. After he talked with her, he came out to the car because I was sitting out there. I had had a recent heart attack and wasn't well enough to walk around, and he started talking to me. So I also informed him that I needed some work done on my home. So he said, I would be happy to come over and give you a bid. Meanwhile, he took me next door to the property that my daughter is managing, introduced me to his mother and his father, showed me some of the work he had performed there, and said he could come over later that day. Okay, later that day he did come over. He looked over the jobs that I needed and was a varied amount of different things.
The bottom line, you were looking for what to be done?
Okay, my front porch was starting to get cracks because it's concrete. So I thought if I put slate or something over it, it would prevent it from opening up more from the weather and it would look nicer. And I had some of my drip system that was broken, and I wanted that repaired so I wouldn't have to go stand out and water it because I want all my little flowers to stay nice and beautiful, so I like flowers.
You had a problem with your front porch and also the drip system. And
yes.
I understand that you essentially set a deal with the contractor.
Yes.
And he took a total of about $1,200 from you.
Yes.
Did you get any work done?
Nothing at all.
Nothing. He disappeared.
Yes.
Did he show you paperwork? Did you ask him for a license, a document, anything?
Well, let me be honest about this. This gentleman was more than just, I found out, an unlicensed contractor. He was quite a confidence man or a con man. He made me feel so comfortable, and I felt he was so honest till I didn't ask too many questions.
All right, so you say he was a con man and he made you feel confident.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? Was it his body language, the way he spoke to you?
He introduced me to his mother and his father at their home, which was next door to the property that my daughter was managing. He also said that he worked for the church, which happened to be the same church I went to. He gave the name of the church. I felt that he was a Christian person when he worked for the church, and he did attend Mass. He also told me that he helped his mother and father on a paper route that they had to subsidize their living expenses because they also was on Social Security.
You mentioned the church. Had you ever
Yes.
seen this gentleman in church?
No, I had not.
And did you have any proof that these were actually his parents? Of course, no one's going to ask for ID, but what led you to believe that they were, just simply because he said?
No, because they seemed like they were living there. I saw them go in and out the property, and the father spoke to me, and he showed me the work that they did in the yard.
So did you write a check or did you pay him in cash?
I wrote a check.
And this was a deposit, essentially.
This was a deposit for material.
And this was for $1,237, I believe.
No, it was for $1,200. He came back later to get the $237.
So altogether was $1,437 that you were out. You never saw any work done?
No.
Nothing. Art Nadler, you hear Anna's story, and again, you're the spokesman for the Nevada State Contractors Board. Unfortunately, how common is something like this?
Well, this happens a lot actually in Nevada because it's such a booming state. People come up and they say that I have this extra material and I can do this job for you. Really, what people have to do is they have to kind of slow down a little bit, and if this person is going to give you a bid, make sure that it's on some sort of stationery that actually has his name of his company on, that has his license number on. Its license number should be a 5-digit number. If somebody walks up to you with a plain ruled notebook, that's kind of like a red flag. So in the beginning, the first thing is the bid should be on something that has his license number on. Also, his vehicle should have his license number on. And also by law, he's supposed to carry...
You're talking about his contractor's license.
His contractor's license number, right. It's a 5-digit number. And also by law that he's supposed to carry a pocket card. So just slowing down a little bit, asking them for these things is a good beginning.
Now, the state of California has a website that you can go to, and you can punch in a contractor's license, and you can check their record. You can see if there have been any complaints filed against them. Is there something similar to that here in Nevada? Yes,
we actually have the same thing. You can go to our website, which is www.nscb.state.nv.us, and you can go in there and by the contractor's name or license number, you can see, first of all, whether they are licensed. You can also see the person who owns the company. If this person that came to your property isn't that person, you can call that person that's listed there and see whether this person actually works for them. You can also get a history of whether there's any complaints against them, whether their license is suspended, in fact, whether they even are licensed.
Again, that website is nscb, as in boy, .state.nv.us. We'll post that on our website, knpr.org, if you'd like a link. Also want to get some listeners involved in the conversation right now. We're at 258-3552. That's 258-3552. Or you can email your questions to son@knpr.org. James in Henderson. James, welcome to KNPR.
Hello. Thanks for letting me on the program.
So go ahead. What's your question, comment?
Well, I'm actually a small business owner, and I run a pool maintenance business. And I heard at the beginning of the program you mentioned pools turning green. And I just wanted to point out that basic pool maintenance doesn't require a contractor's license. That I actually have a business license for simple maintenance. And so for someone to come to your home and to clean your pool doesn't. But if they're going to replace equipment or touch any of the hardware, that should require a contractor's license.
All right, Nadler, is that the case? James, stay with us a moment.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, you hear terms about so-called handyman, and people can come out and they can mow your yard. They can do simple things like put a fan in a ceiling. But if they start getting into tearing into walls, actually putting in sprinkler systems, then they do have to be licensed for things like that. And same thing for pools. If you're going to actually build a pool, put the equipment in, you do have to be licensed.
All right, so basic pool care, you don't have to be licensed, but if you're talking about major work on a pool, then you do have to be licensed.
Right, for maintenance, things like that.
All right, well, James, we really appreciate the clarification. Thanks so much for the call. Mark in Las Vegas writes, I was a licensed contractor in Massachusetts, but I understand that my work experience there does not count in my application for a license here. Art Nadler, he asks, is that true? If yes, why?
Well, we have what's called reciprocity with certain states, California, Utah, Arizona, which means that if you want to become a licensed contractor here, you may not have to take what's called a trade test. But usually to become a licensed contractor, you have to take a trade test and also a law test part of it.
Trade test and law test, and how difficult are those tests? What are you asking? What are you looking for?
Well, if you study for them, they're actually not very hard, and our staff will actually help you prepare before you submit your application. The law test is open book, so it's just a matter of studying.